All right, so welcome back. This is part three. If you've been rocking with me since part one, part two, even on the shorts, you feel me? Then you already know the deal. We're here to talk about IT technology jargon for your next interview so you won't sound goofy, so you won't look goofy. I'm breaking it down into everyday language and just talking how everybody typically talks. I'm a millennial. You might be a millennial or you Gen Z or wherever you are, even if you're a baby boomer. It's not too early or too late to try to start. But if you don't know what we're talking about, then you will not survive. Here we go. Back to VPNs. So last video I explained VPN, but then it was cut. Now let's get back to it. So if you can think about VPNs as a tunnel or as a hallway, right? If someone allows for you to get inside of the first door of the hallway, then you just walk through the hallway to the next door in the hallway. The VPN tunnel is just a hallway to your information. If you're at home, we can create a hallway through the internet in order for you to get to the information on the other side of that hallway, which would be your organization. So that's a VPN. If you want the other fluff about VPN, go back to part two. All right, domain name. So a domain name is a human readable address of a website. That's literally what it is. Now, websites are broken down into something called IP addresses, but a domain name makes that really simple. So instead of typing a complex IP address like the one you see right here on the screen to access a website, you type in its domain name, which is this IP address. Domain name is google.com. This IP address is the address. Similar to your house has an address, this is the address to where google.com lives. There you go. That's a domain name. Nice and simple and sweet. All right, UI, UX. This is for my creatives. I want to make sure I always put things for the creative community in here because I love the creative community. I always want to be a part of it. So this is for creatives, whatever. So UI is a clean mobile app. So basically, user interface and user experience. That's what UI UX is. You want to make it as clean and tight as possible so that people aren't irritated while using your device or the layout that you design. So UI is what a user sees, the buttons, the layouts, etc. While UX is what a user feels when they interact with the product, the overall experience. So no headaches, easy buttons, easy to read, nice and simple, good fonts, good vocabulary, not super bright, weird colors. You know, you want to create for the community that you're trying to target. Latency. What is latency? So latency is the time between a cause and an effect inside of a system. Often referring to time it takes for data to travel from the source to its destination. So when your computer is going slow and the screen ain't popping up, or when you got to wait for a website to come up, that's latency. Or if you're looking for an old school song on your iPhone and it's like loading so long and you're like, why is it taking so long? Because they got to go figure out where is this song stored. Like if this song isn't listened to all the time, then they won't store it close. Storing things close is called edge computing, which we'll talk about later down the road. But latency is the time it takes for files to get from one place to the next. So lag in an online video game, that's latency, is a form of latency where there's a delay between action and the game's response. Call and action, call and action. Everything in computing are files. You got to go fetch them files from servers. Those servers could be anywhere in the world virtually. Typically, they're in places called availability zones, which we can talk about later down the road. Script. So a script is code written to automate tasks. So the first couple scripting languages that I ever learned were technically Python is a scripting language, but also technically Python is a programming language. Python is a weird thing. You can kind of do anything in the world with Python. But I learned Python. Then when I became a Google administrator, I learned GAM for Google And then when and then when I worked for an organization that used Microsoft, I learned PowerShell for Microsoft. I know how to script for Linux or for most of these things. And this is not a about me show. So what this is me just explaining the different types of scripting languages. And it's a simple script can automate a task like renaming a large number of files. So for instance, if within your organization, this group of files was all named something incorrectly, somebody in the organization can let me know, hey, we need to rename all of this. Or if you need to pull all of the files that has this one word in there, one word in typically the title, not the content. But if you need to pull all of the files that has this specific word in there, then I can write a quick script and we can just pull it. It's a lot of reasons why you'll use scripting. In some systems, you can't delegate access to another individual without scripting, which if you're interested in these things, then we can do them. But basically, scripting languages aren't hard to learn. They can boost your income so much because you can do things that so many individuals just can't do. And the reason why they can't do it is because they didn't take 20, 30, 40 minutes every weekend for like a month or so and learn the language. It's not that difficult to learn whatsoever. HTML. So, hypertext markup language. HTML is the standard markup language for creating structure of web pages and web applications. Literally, you see HTML everywhere. A real world example is a website's content like heading, paragraphs, and links is structured using HTML tags. So I'm just going to show you an example. This is google.com. I'm going to go to inspect. And when I inspect it, see right there, HTML. Here's the HTML for google.com. I can't change it. I could just see it. You can do this to any website. But you'll see how they laid out the website. And when you first learn how to program, sometimes, especially HTML, you learn the little trick I just showed you. And then you see how they organize their website. And organizing your website for efficiency, you organize your website for a lot of different reasons. But you also see how other programmers do it. And you can copy their skills. But that's HTML, and that was an example of what it looks like. Here we go. I'm about to leave and come right back on the screen. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is this right here. Responsible design. So responsible design is design and a design approach to ensure websites adapt to different screens. So the reason I got all of these screens is because high quality websites, you'll be able to access them on a cell phone, on a laptop, and on a desktop. And every user experience, going back to that UI UX thing, they will just basically shape, and the buttons and the experience will be catered towards the device that it's on. So a website that automatically adjusts its layout and image size to fit perfectly on your phone's screen, or on your desktop, or on your laptop, or on a TV screen, or on any screen. But that's responsive design for the creatives. All right, so next, what do we have? Next is, I just want to thank y'all. Look, this YouTube thing has been a journey for me. Obviously, I need y'all to always remember that in interviews, it's not about memorizing the jargon. Even the way that I'm talking about it is fine. What the best thing you can do in an interview is you want to be able to showcase that you can think clearly and you can express an idea in its simplest terms. That's the best way. You don't want things to be super convoluted or super difficult or any of that. As humans, we like working with other individuals that make us feel human, even though we work with computers. If you talk to me in terminology that I easily understand, then this is great. And this is so important because sometimes, especially in spaces like this, I'll be working with someone who has a heavy accent, like Indian accent, or, Those whose first language is Spanish, they have an accent. Those who come from places in Africa or Nigeria, for instance, I work with a Nigerian man. He has a heavy accent. The simpler that we can explain ideas and concepts to each other, the easier it is for us to communicate. That's it. You want to know these terms so that you can become comfortable with them. They can become a part of your everyday conversation and language, and you can communicate very simply. The better you are at these terms and the more comfortable you feel, the further ahead in the game you'll get. Thank you for checking me out. Thank you for sliding through. You feel me? Go check out your boy YouTube page. Obviously, you're looking at this on YouTube. Check out my YouTube. You feel me? Your boy getting up there, a little 1,000 views here and there. You know what I mean? So, let's win together. Let's win together. Thank you for support. And I hope that I'm being valuable to you and the journey that you are going to pursue. Like, subscribe, hold it down, and good luck out there. If you consistently improve every day, then all of those, ideas or dreams or hopes that you got, they will come true. I'm going to end this by telling you my personal motto. My personal motto is 1% better every day, because at the end of the year, I'll be 37 times better. And literally, the reason why I can consistently do things in my life, and I'm not saying I'm crazy successful by no means, but the reason why I can stay consistent is because my only goal is 1% improvement. That's it. 1% improvement over time gets you 37 times better when the year ends. Good luck out there. Peace out.